There are 3 to 6 prisoners of war in each of these cells, 3 meals a day, walk in the fresh air, and a bath once a week. Russian soldiers are held in accordance with all the rules of the Geneva Convention. Representatives of the Red Cross organization monitor compliance with norms. The organization often helps with clothing and personal hygiene items. It also conducts interviews with prisoners from time to time, all to make sure that Ukraine respects human rights. The whole world is now watching how each country, both the aggressor Russia and our country, behaves. From the first day, the prisoners of war in our country were given everything they needed: medical care and prison amenities. They were always held in normal, warm places. At the beginning of the war, it was very important that all the premises were provided with all these sanitary norms. And of course, food. The Geneva Convention sets very high requirements for nutrition. According to the convention, prisoners of war have to be fed the same way as members of the armed forces of Ukraine. These rules are also observed. They eat meat every day, twice a day for breakfast and lunch, and fish every evening. The maintenance of one Russian prisoner of war costs Ukraine 3,000 hryvnias per month. In addition, the cost of medical care, medicines, and staff salaries. As the Minister of Justice points out, the goal justifies the expenses. After all, only a prisoner exchange will help return home hundreds of Ukrainian military who are now held in Russia or in the temporarily occupied territories of Ukraine, and decent treatment of those who have let down arms will help to demand the same from the enemy at the international level. Ukrainian captivity is not a scary place, and we have to talk about this, that no one is tortured. If this information then reaches relatives and friends of Russians, it means that the next military will probably surrender more easily to ours, and it will save the lives of our servicemen. This is important. The second issue is that after every war there will be a legal war, and we are already preparing for such a war today. So evidence, prison conditions, all of this will matter. Russian prisoners of war are surprised by this attitude. Contrary to what their military commanders tell them, they are treated and cared for with dignity.
There was an attack from our side on the village. I was wounded. It happened on April 30th, and on May 1st I was taken captive. I was provided with the first medical care. Given that there were wounds, assistance was provided by the armed forces of Ukraine. We are well treated here. We have food, places to rest, a bathroom, and outdoor walks. Everything is normal here.
Roman came from the Leningrad region. He assures that when he signed his contract in the army, he was promised another job. According to Roman, instead of fighting on the front line, he was supposed to deliver humanitarian aid to the occupied territories of Ukraine.
If it had been said that I had to take part in combat operations, I would not have come here. As a reservist, I was told that I would take part in humanitarian mission. As a result, I was brought here and turned out to be meat in the field. There was a lot about fascists, but it turns out that seeing the actions of the Russian armed forces, you get the opposite impression, who are the fascists here.
RUSLAN made a long way to Ukraine from Karelia. After months on the front line, he was taken captive in the Kharkiv region.
They just forgot about us. We were told to change the batteries in the radio. We came to the headquarters and there was no one there. We went back and there was no one there. We went to another position and there was no one there. Then we saw the armed forces of Ukraine. We told them that we came here to fight fascism, which is shown to us on Russian TV. As it turned out, Russian TV brainwashed us, and that's it.
Those who have let down their arms in front of the armed forces of Ukraine say they regret that they went to war against another state. However, they are afraid to change the criminal regime in their country upon returning home.
If you put fleas in a jar and close the lid, they begin to jump. And then if you remove the lid, they will not jump above the lid. It's the same with us. But you're human beings. You're not fleas. Some people are human, some people aren't.
Reported by Ksenia Buhai, Larysa Zubenko, UATV News.